yeah, we got 3 books.
Yeah, well, I think we only have the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Picture downtown, the marketplace. Remember the
Yeah, I
marketplace?
sure do.
Okay, just
Mother ever go there?
just a second. I just want to mention that this tape is being made on the occasion of Nan's 90th birthday, Kanahara, at Maya stream, and today is February 24th, 1990. Okay.
Okay. Now, you were born in,
Guy, it was called.
where?
Guy.
What's Gudagai? That's the name of the
That's
city?
the name of
The village?
Yeah.
And it was near Vilma?
Well, it's Vilna Gubernia. Gubernia's like a state or...
Wasn't Vilna always in Russia, though?
Yes, it was Russia, but I understand today it's Lithuania.
No, it's still Russia.
Well,
It's,
that's
it's,
what people... It's,
When you lived in the, what was the name of the city again?
Guy.
Gudagai
It's a village, really.
Village. And how far was that from Vilna, do you know?
Oh, I don't know, but not...
How'd you get there? Did you ever go?
Sure.
How'd you go there? By
It
horse?
was for the horse and wagon. You know, in those days when for the holidays, what's for you kids were rush hour,
Yeah.
you had to go to another city. There was no Jewish place in
There was no synagogue in,
No, not
but there
where we
was
lived.
one in where?
In Vilna and Oshmana.
Oshmana.
Oshmana was a city.
Uh-huh.
And,
There were synagogues there.
oh, sure, those were big cities, and so we used to
Uh-huh.
go by horse and wagon, and we'd stay with somebody, you know,
Uh-huh.
all through the, I can remember that as a kid.
So you wanna stop
What was it
there?
like? That's okay.
I want to get something in the other room.
Okay.
But anyways, there's a book on the table there in the other room there, on the high chair.
Okay.
When I was talking about my family,
Were you born here?
no, yeah, I was born here. My father was born here too, but and my grandfather came from Russia near Kiev.
Well, that also was not too far from Vilna.
No,
They
Kiev
told
was
me.
quite a ways from Kiev. Yeah, Kiev was
It was a big city.
a very big city, but it was in the southern part. And the reason I asked that question there, because when we were studying the cities there, the main city of Kiev, they had these small shetels outside of Kiev
Definitely, yeah.
that were quite interesting. The fact that the people that had been born there knew of them, but the other people, like people that knew geography, they never heard of these places. And I think it's something that makes it a little more personal if you can kind of relate to a city like now Vilna. Was what kind of a city was it? What is it? Manufacturing?
That I wouldn't know.
You don't know anything? Well, the reason I asked the question because Kiev, which was another city there, was a very busy city where they had the Jewish people went in there and worked in the tailor shops, and they worked in the various factories and so forth. And we never had any.
I don't think they were Litvaks in Kiev, were they? They spoke Galician or something like that.
I don't think so. Galiciano was around Germany,
That
wasn't
was
it?
Galicia.
Yeah, well, Galicia is different.
Well, what kind of jobs were there in the shtetl you grew up in? The
Yeah,
village
well-
you grew up in? What were the jobs? If it wasn't manufacturing by you,
We lived in the village.
so what kind of work was done? How did people make livings?
Well, that I don't know how they all made a living.
Well-
Like
Your
your
family.
father, what did your father do there? Your grandparents? You know, what
My
did they do?
father was
A blacksmith.
blacksmith.
All right. Now, what was your grandfather? Do you remember? Did you go back that far?
Sure, because we all lived in the same house.
All right. What did your grandfather do?
Well, they had this, see, it wasn't a restaurant. It was a place where they would serve tea. That some of our comes from there.
Yeah.
Or drinks, liquor. They used to serve liquor to these prisoners. The
Prisoners. Why'd they bring the
prisoners,
prisoners back? You mentioned that.
They walked them. I don't know from what part of the country.
And what kind of prisoners were they? What political ones?
Thieves, or
Oh,
all
regular-
kinds, all kinds.
Oh, regular
of things.
Lowlifes.
lowlights as far as,
And some of them were violent and some were nice, you know.
uh-huh.
And they had to pass our place. And they would always stop in. Now, I imagine our folks must have been paid for these things because,
So almost like they had the license, they had the concession.
well, that I don't
That
know
was an
how
official,
they
almost
worked
like an
it.
official
But
stop.
they used to, you know, serve them drink or something with it perhaps, and liquor. And, you know, naturally, we children had to get out of their way. We weren't around them, you know, but our folks were afraid. We had a basement, not like the basements they have, it was all earth.
It was earth, there was no concrete floors in the basement.
Nothing, you know.
No,
So when these prisoners would stop in, we kids were taken into, you know, into the basement.
for protection.
For protection, you know, so we
Yeah.
had to keep mom and, you know, that's what.
Excuse me.
And what was kept in the basement? Was it used for storage or
No,
for
no,
canning
no,
or for
no.
fruits or anything like
Raised
that?
mushrooms?
No,
It was just space in the basement that they kept.
you know, that's the way the house was built, I suppose.
Now, what is it, one floor or is it two floors? Was it the second floor? Somebody lived upstairs? When you were a kid, where'd you sleep,
I
upstairs?
think so I remember it wasn't a fireplace, but I remember what did the heating system look like?
They must have had a fireplace.
Maybe that was the fireplace,
Uh-huh.
so we had to have it upstairs.
And in your village, were there mostly Jews living in the village or
No,
mixed?
I think there were only just Uncle Laser, my father's brother, and we lived across the street from each other. The two families, the rest there were priests there. I remember before we came to this country, Ma had to get rid of a lot of furniture. And, you know, you had to do it on the QT because if people would find out that we were leaving the country, they'd, you know, get after us or.
What do you mean, why would they let you live in the country?
Well, when my father left a year before,
Yeah. Who was there to take care of you? Your mother?
my mother
And who else?
and my grandparents.
Your grandparents were alive?
Oh, yeah.
What was your grandmother's name?
Zvera, I think.
What?
Zvera.
Devera
Zvera.
As in Dvorah in Hebrew.
and Devar. And what's your grandfather's name? Don't you remember his name?
I should, yeah, I should.
Yeah.
remember. I can't think of it.
He lived with you, huh?
We lived with them.
Or you lived with them? Well, what, did he have a business or did he run the coffee shop?
Well, yeah. And my father was a blacksmith. It was down the road a piece.
He was, wasn't in the same building?
No.
His
oh,
blacksmith shop was down the street?
Down the street.
Oh yeah, was there any place you could buy food in the village? How'd you buy food, in the marketplace or something?
I suppose you had to go to the city. Ushmana was the nearest.
What is it?
Ushmana.
Ushmina.
So did your father, did your grandfather have the horse or some means of transportation?
Oh, sure, we had horse and wagon. When we went to the city for the holidays or so, sure, we went by horse and wagon.
Well, your father was a blacksmith, he must have had a lot of horses.
No, I don't think.
He had 2 horses.
Oh, I don't know that.
He had half a horse.
I know we had a horse and wagon.
So of your family, who was born in Russia? Who was born in this village?
Myself,
You-
Lil,
Your sister
And
Lil.
What's the
And your
age
bro-
difference between everyone?
Well, Lil was.
about 2.5 years, close to 2.5 years difference between each. It was
Uh-huh.
just the three of us, and Uncle Al and Aunt Lil and myself. Uncle Al was 6 months old when he came here.
So where was your father, as you said, for the year that he went to to America while you were still
We were
in
still there.
the town, in the village? Where was he?
Where was my
Yeah,
father?
where did he
Yes.
work when he
Where
came
did
to
he
the
work?
United States? Did he come right to Albany or did he live in New York?
No, he came right to Albany, because we had relatives here. No, the Silbergs were here.
The who?
Silbergs.
Oh, the Silbergs, the Undertaker?
Yeah,
Well, they're related to you?
oh, sure.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But then, were they undertakers then?
No,
They're
no,
familiars,
my
right?
God, no, they
Yeah.
hadn't. This was done for
What, they have a
years
grocery
ago.
store?
No. My, Silberg, they had a ladies' store on South Pearl Street,
Oh, yeah,
ladies' clothing.
I understand, yeah.
And,
So that was the early 1900s.
oh yeah,
Like
because we came,
1904.
huh?
It was like 1904.
Oh, sure, they must have come before that.
And so who else of your family was here?
My Uncle Ben was here before we came.
Uncle Ben?
Yeah, Black Ben.
Black Ben.
We have a Black Ben, a Red Ben.
A black Ben?
We used to call him Black Ben because one had black hair, the other one had red hair.
Oh, yeah?
And so how many siblings did your dad have? How many brothers and sisters did he have altogether?
Wait a minute.
Your dad had,
He had one brother
Uh-huh.
and one sister, Sarifka. Sherry's named after her. You know, that was the Stutz family. Their name was Slutsk. They changed it to Stutz.
yeah.
And who else?
This was your father's,
This is the
My-
father's
yeah.
family.
your father's family.
Right.
And where did they live over in Russia?
I don't know, because they,
Did you ever see them over there?
no, my goodness, they were in this country, went to New York.
Before 1900?
We-
Before your father got here?
Yeah, before my father got here, I don't know what year they came here, they got married and came to New York City.
So Red Ben and Black Ben were your father's uncles?
No, Black Ben
Right.
was my mother's.
That was on the other side.
Was your mother's what?
Black Ben was my mother's brother,
And he was here.
and he was here.
So you had people from in Albany from both sides. From your father's side and your mother's side then. Okay.
That was my mother's side.
Because
Right.
on Dina's side, Dina
And
had a
my
lot of
father's
brothers
side,
and
oh yeah, it
sisters.
was my father's side. My father's sister was in New York. She got married and came to America.
Your father's sister, what was her name again?
Starts.
Sarifka.
Her name was Sarah. So
She went right to New York.
right there, she and her husband got married in Russia and came right to New York.
All right, now your father went from Russia. He came through, was it Crystal Garden
Ellis
or
Island.
Ellis Island? Then he
Ellis
went up through to Albany.
Yeah,
And
Why did he come to Albany? For any reason?
because my mother's family, there were a number of them living here.
Uh
That was the Silbert family.
huh.
Black Ben was here.
what was Black Ben's last name?
Koblenz.
Okay.
Oh, he's a
Koblenz.
Koblenz?
Yeah.
Well, where was he originally from? He's not originally from Russia. He must have come from Germany.
No.
That may have been a couple generations
No.
earlier.
The Koblenz name originally was from Germany. It was spelled with a C.
Sure.
But
After
we
the city of
spell it-
Koblenz.
And you know the Koblenzes, they all spell it differently anyhow.
Sure they do.
It's E-N-Z, I-N-T-Z,
Oh, yeah.
Koblin, K-O-B-L-I-N. They came at different times, and I suppose they had the same trouble coming through the
Immigrations.
immigration,
Yeah,
you
right.
know, and they couldn't spell the name, so they changed it, you know.
Do you have any problems coming over here when you went across the border? You and your mother?
What kind of problems?
You know, immigration.
No, my mother had a passport.
Who paid for it? Your father? He sent the money over for storage for going over?
He must have, I mean, I wouldn't know. I was 5 years old, how can I know?
No, I mean, that's what they
All these
usually
things.
talk about.
Yeah, well, I don't.
When they're around together, did he have to, he borrow the money from somebody to pay to get over or something?
You know, in those days when he came, they had a Milas Chesed in Albany. You know what that means?
That's to help you over?
That's among the Jewish people. That was their
It's like a
organization.
little society, a little organization.
Yeah, you know,
Like a
where-
brotherhood.
Like a highest, what do you call it?
Yeah, they would loan money, you know,
Right.
to people. I don't know if it still exists here or not.
Well, they got something they call the UJA now.
Oh, well, that's on a big scale, but this was only, you know, people belonged to a shul,
Yeah.
a couple of shuls or so. They got together, they organized this.
So it was just a year?
What?
It was just a year between the time your father
That's
came over and
right.
the rest of the family.
That's right.
Have you ever, when you came over here, did you make, where'd you first live? Where'd you move into?
21 Broad Street,
21 Broad Street.
near Surrey.
And what kind was it? A three-family house, 3 flats, one in the basement, and
Yeah, I think there were 2 or 3.
right near Schuyler Street, right near
No,
Arch.
that was near Broad Street. That was Broad Street near Arch.
Arch, yeah.
Who did you live there with?
Hmm?
Who did you live there with?
You lived with her mother and her sister and her brother.
Anybody
Well,
else?
Right, I mean,
father,
was there any other family there?
My father, you know.
Yeah, no, but I mean.
In the other apartments?
In
any other
you know,
flats?
like Black Ben, was that his house or?
Oh, he didn't live here. No, he lived someplace else. I don't remember where he lived. Oh,
Did you know the Cooperbergs?
Sure, I used to know them at one time.
They had the
They
yarn
were-
the business.
The what?
They used to sell yarn over on, what was it, Madison Avenue, Trinity Place?
Yeah, around there they had the
Mhm.
store.
They're right over in the corner there.
Nan, what kind of work did your dad do when he came here?
Well, everybody, they all became customer peddlers, and how they managed that, I'll never know, because they couldn't speak the language naturally.
Yeah, where did he have his place of business, or did he work for somebody?
You know how they used to do business, for instance, he'd go to door, and people would want to buy something, for instance.
Oh yeah,
suit,
peddler, a shirt, pants.
whatever, yeah. He would take him down, remember Morris Sherman?
Yeah,
Well, he used to deal with Morris Sherman. He used to take his customers, so to speak,
oh yeah.
take them down, they'd pick out what they want. And my father, and then Sherman, would say good. They'd walk off with the purchase, and my father used to go to collect from them, whatever they'd pay, $1 a week, whatever, until they paid.
Oh, he was like a collection agent for Morris Sherman?
Yeah, and other places of business too. I can't remember the other, all I remember was Morris Sherman.
Yeah, that's Mike Sherman's father, huh? Probably would be.
I don't remember his children already.
No?
What was the rest of the family? What other kind of businesses was the rest of the family? The various Koblitzes
They
and
all,
Smiths
now
doing?
Well-
Black Ben was also a peddler, but I have a picture of him. Oh, I gave it to them. I gave it to Kibby. They had a horse and, remember what kind of, how can I describe the type of vehicle that the horse would pull? It was like a closed
Carriage?
box. The whole thing was closed.
Oh yeah, like a wagon.
Yeah, but
like
it was
a-
all closed. It wasn't open.
No
Nothing-
window, no door.
No door. Yeah, you had to have a door.
Oh yeah, just to get in and get out in the back.
Yeah.
Out in the
And
back.
he used to sell. He bought stuff and sold, like for instance, in those days, let's say shoelaces. Different items,
Yeah.
household items.
Like you call notions.
notions,
Yeah,
well-
different things.
You pick it up from New
In
York.
fact, he was the one who sold a woman, I can't remember the lady's name, on 2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
They wanted to sell the place. And he suggested my folks to buy that place. And my folks did. They didn't know.
Oh, they moved over to Second
Yeah,
Avenue?
we lived on 2nd Avenue, 79 2nd Avenue.
What year was that? You had any idea? How old were you?
Well, let me see. I had to be then.
Because there weren't many families over there at that time
Oh,
on Second Avenue.
yeah,
Were there?
Sure, there
A
were.
lot of Jewish families there?
Well, there were some, but not too many.
Yeah.
So when my folks bought the business,
You lived upstairs over it?
no, it was a lovely flat in the back of the store.
That's where you lived?
That's where we lived. We had a nice
What kind of business
Modern-
was it?
a grocery store.
Oh, you had a grocery store there.
Yeah.
Now whereabouts on Second Avenue? Down
It's
below?
near Sloan. You know where Sloan Street is?
Yeah, that's by Hoffman, isn't it?
I don't.
Just below it.
Oh, Hopkins is further up, I guess.
No, it's below there. It's down further.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
Sloan.
Well, what is it?
It's not- it wasn't
Slingerland? There's.
It wasn't too far from School 17.
Yeah.
You know where that is?
Yeah, that's down by Benjamin Street.
Well, this is above. This Sloan Street was a little above.
Above there.
I can remember.
Tivoli.
Now, and what was this flat like? Did you have indoor plumbing? Did you have,
Oh yes.
what
this
kind of
was-
floors did you have?
That I don't know. I don't remember that.
How about in Russia? Do you remember what the plumbing was? You had a little outhouse in back of the house?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What'd you have? A couple outhouses or just one?
That I don't know. But
Everybody
I don't,
had one?
I don't know how many there were, but there were outhouses, and we used to wash clothes. My mother used to wash clothes. I told you.
In the
On-
stream?
And yeah, a pond, you know.
Oh yeah. What happens in wintertime when it's frozen?
Gee, I don't know. I don't know what they
They
did.
probably had to melt the ice, huh?
I don't know how they worked that, but
And was there a local shochet or anything in
Well,
where you were growing up when you were little in
not when I
Russia?
was little, not in our place. You had to go to Oshmana
Yeah.
for all your
For all the kosher food?
Sure.
So you didn't have any chickens. You didn't have any kind of livestock at all at home.
Oh no, we didn't have
You
Eat
any.
bought
much
it.
chicken? Did you have much to eat when you were a kid?
Well, we had good food. Yeah,
Did you? What'd you have mostly? Chicken, any beef?
beef, chicken. We didn't have any turkey. Whoever
No, the turkey's an American thing.
Whoever had turkeys there.
You had duck, geese?
Duck, I think.
Yeah.
Geese. Fruits.
Fruits?
We didn't have all kind. You know when they had, for instance, bananas. I'll use
Where'd
that.
you get them from?
We didn't get them where we lived. We didn't have any. But in Odessa,
Odessa, they used to ship it up?
no, they never shipped it. But there, you could find all kinds of fruits.
You been to Odessa?
My husband lived there.
Was that right? That's quite a distance from
Oh,
Vilna.
sure.
Well, how do you get back and forth? By train, or we couldn't take a horse and buggy?
He grew up in Odessa. And then from
Oh, yeah?
Odessa, he came to America. My husband.
Parents.
Oh, that's right.
Another
Okay.
He was a
Family.
cousin to me. He was
Oh.
my second cousin.
Oh, he lived in Odessa, your
He
husband.
lived in Odessa.
Nana, you had a funny story about a banana one time. With the, you never knew what a banana was?
Oh, well, after Kessel Garden, when we came to Albany,
Yeah.
well, they did that to all Jewish people.
Well, that's where you came through, Castle Garden.
Kessel Garden, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't.
What did I call it before?
You said it was
Ellis Island.
Ellis Island.
Ellis Island.
I thought you went through Castle Garden.
Wasn't that the same?
No, they're two different places. One started in 1872 or something like that. Castle Garden was first, then Ellis
Yeah.
Island.
Well, then maybe, I don't know, maybe it was Ellis. Kessel Garden, that's yeah. And so the first thing they do, we came, after we got out of the Union Station, we got into a coach, you know.
Was it
So wait a second, you came up by train from New York City?
Yeah. So
Was
my-
that your first train ride?
Probably had a train ride in Europe. Didn't you go across Europe in a train? You didn't take a
horse
boat, that's
and
what.
buggy.
Not across Europe. You had to, where'd you come over? Originally Germany?
No, we never lived in Germany.
How'd you get to the
Where'd
United
you leave
States?
from? On the ship, where'd you get on the
What
ship?
port? You know, remember the ship you were on? When you were so very sick?
Yeah, wait a minute, wait.
La Havre?
We didn't go to Hamburg, I know that.
Bremen?
No, San
La Havre?
No, we didn't go there. Names of others, I can't think.
Dresden? No, I mean not Dresden. Dunkirk.
I can't think of
The other port?
the other port. But we had to go by train to get there.
Oh, sure you had to go by train. It's a long trip. It's maybe over 1,000 miles, 1,500 miles.
So you took a train, then you got up to Union
So
Station
when we
in
got to the
Albany.
Union Station, my father gave us each a banana, and we didn't know what it was.
Your father did this to you?
They give you instructions on how to eat it?
Oh, yeah, they did that to everybody that came over, you know, had the same experience.
Oh, yeah? They gave it to you where?
So what'd you do?
In the coach.
Oh, yeah? At Union Station?
So your dad did. What was
After
your?
we got out of the station,
Nah.
we came home by coach.
Oh, yeah.
My father didn't use
So
his
they
horse.
gave you a
A
banana.
banana.
So tell me, what was your reaction when you saw your dad for the first time in a year?
Well, I know my father, and actually we greeted each other.
Uh-huh.
But my sister Lil,
Yeah, I'm
I
listening.
told you,
What?
she said to him, Timmy Ibachka, Yacha business nayu. That means you are not my father, I don't know you. And she,
Was she mad?
sure she was. She was
How old was she when she came?
She was about 2.5.
She was 2.5.
She spoke pretty good English.
Yeah. For polite. Look, why did we speak Polish? I don't understand.
You spoke Polish, but you were from Russia.
Yeah, so we had to speak Polish.
I don't know
That
why.
We should have spoken Russian,
I would say so if you came from that area.
but that was Polish we spoke.
It wasn't
So
Polish
maybe-
according to the maps.
Maybe where we lived, there weren't many Russians. Maybe they're all Poles there. You know?
Where'd you come from? Rotterdam? Did you come out of
No,
Rotterdam?
no.
What city did you come out of?
I can't think of the name of the.
Nah.
It wasn't Le Havre.
No,
Probably
no, that's-
Rotterdam, they all came from
No,
Rotterdam.
no,
No?
Hamburg. A lot of people came.
Oh,
but,
that's true.
We didn't go to Hamburg.
Now, and what language did you speak at home mostly?
Jewish.
Always. So how did she speak Polish?
That's what makes me wonder. Maybe the people there,
Uh-huh. So you knew in the street you spoke one thing, at home you spoke something else?
Probably.
possibly.
Yeah.
Mhm. So when you got here, when you were, how old were you when you first arrived?
5.
You were 5. So what did you do when you first got here?
5.
How did you
maybe
get
2.
all your papers and everything you'd need for identification and to start school and everything like that?
I wonder
Oh.
myself. We came in July,
Mhm.
so I was 5 in a few months, you know. And in September you go to school, or you start school then. I can't understand. I was here a couple of months in the country. How could I learn to speak English?
You learned fast.
Kids,
Were there any relatives your age? Did you have any cousins to play with
Oh, sure.
your age?
I wonder if they were
You didn't
here.
leave to Danzig, did you?
No, that's Germany.
Well, it was Poland at the time, too.
Kiel?
Kiel?
I think my fellow mayor must have been here at that time.
Lubeck?
Do you remember Mayor Koblenz? One with a large family, 10 children.
No.
I think they lived here. They were here before we came. He was an uncle to my mother.
You didn't leave through Latvia, did you? Leave through
No,
Russia?
no.
Riga? Or those
No,
places?
no.
Were all those other couples, the red bed and black bed, they were all here already?
Yeah, Nan, can you remember of your mother's brothers and sisters? Who was already here when you got here?
My
If we could just reel them all off, all the names.
You said Blackburn was
Black
there.
Ben was here.
Okay, it's one brother. That's a brother to your mother or an
Yeah.
uncle?
No, a brother.
Okay.
And I don't think,
How many brothers and sisters were there in Dina's family?
in my mother's family, well, there was Abe. He died, young man, he died during the flu that year.
That was here in Albany?
That was here in Albany,
hmm
and I became engaged. He was sick with a few epidemics here at the time. And Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert, who recently
And
died.
then the sisters were, my Aunt Ida was a sister, and Mary was a sister. So what, that was 6 children.
So that's 6 children. With Dina, that's 6 children.
But what about Uncle Chaim, who went to Israel?
Uncle Chaim was my husband's brother.
That was the other side of it.
Oh,
And then, so who of Dina's uncles and aunts were here?
Königsberg? Was it Königsberg?
No,
Who of Dina's aunts and uncles were here? Because that's the generation even before, but they were already established here by the time you
you
got
mean
here,
my
right?
mother's?
Yeah, right. Of Dina's uncles. That's where all the Bens
Well,
and such.
that was the Silbert family.
Okay, so what
They
was
were-
their name? What was the first name there? Uncle what?
Her name is Basha.
Okay, so she
Oh,
was
he
an
was-
aunt.
Aaron.
Okay. Who else? So it's Silver. Who
That's
else?
the Silbert family. And,
Any
I'm not
Coblences?
sure there had to be Coblences too, but
Let's talk about the city again that you came over in. I just want to know,
I can't-
when you left on the boat,
Yeah.
how'd you get to
Well, we
you
had
took
to-
a train, your mother
Train.
and your sister and your brother and yourself went on a train, and you had
I think we
you had all your bedding with you, and all your,
How did we get there with all that stuff?
I don't know, but you had a big train. You must have slept in the train, or you stood up all the
I
time.
don't remember that.
Don't remember, you should be ashamed of yourself. It only happened about
You're not
85 years ago.
kidding. You're not kidding. I
Okay.
know.
Wasn't through a memo, was it, or
Is there something with an S?
an S?
These towns might not even be there
Yeah.
anymore. Keep that in mind.
yeah, but if they were probably
With an S. What country was it? Do you remember what country?
Russia.
You were left. Russia doesn't have any ports.
It was
Russia
pretty
It
lit.
doesn't have any ports to
We
get
had
out.
get to
You
it.
had to go to Germany first.
Oh, no.
Oh, you didn't go out the
We
southern
didn't
part.
go. We didn't go to Hamburg.
You didn't go
That's
out to
Germany.
Odessa, did you?
No, that's true. No, we didn't go.
Nah.
further. Why?
What exactly did your mom take out with her?
What'd you bring over with you to this country?
Mostly bedding, pillows.
Why was it so important to take bedding?
Basically, that's what they all did that.
They all took bedding
And
with
I
them.
had a feather bed on there. I'm sorry I left that feather bed home because.
Wasn't
it was
Leningrad,
so-
was it?
Wait.
No.
Left at home when? Which home?
Here.
When I moved up with Esther.
Rostov?
Oh.
No.
Sevastopol?
Yeah.
Sevastopol?
Nan?
Sevastopol, no, that's further, that's near.
Yes, that's, or
That's way
Odessa.
up in the, yeah.
Nan?
Why?
Were there restrictions on what you could take out?
Anything you can carry, probably.
Well,
why-
was
why
there a
probably
money? Was there a
not?
money restriction?
Why'd you take the samovar? Why'd Dina take the samovar?
She took what do you call it, her candlesticks. Yes, Sarah's got them, they were brass candlesticks. What else did you bring? Why, they did those things then.
But was there any restriction on how much money you were allowed to take out, or any other jewelry, or any kind of precious goods that you were allowed to take?
No, they could have taken anything they wanted.
They could have taken anything?
Yeah, at least my mother did. I remember, as I said before, she had to get rid of her furniture. For
Right.
instance, she had a bed, a chiffon, whatever.
Stettel? Is it
No. So
Stetler?
she went to this priest's house. He was a friend of the family's. And everything has to be done under cover, you know.
Mhm.
Nobody should know. Because if the police would get word, who knows, maybe they would have arrested my mother because when my father left, they came to the house and demanded to know where he went. He was called up for
For
duty,
service.
Army duty, yeah.
Uh-huh.
army duty, because at that time it was Russia and Japan or
Yeah, Russo-Franco War.
Russo-Japanese.
Japanese.
War.
Japanese, you know, and, so when they came, she said, you don't know where he is, you know, she wouldn't say that he went
He
to
died.
America or whatever. They, you know, they
Yeah, they say
her.
anything. They
So
lie.
naturally, then when she tried to get a passport, it had to cost her a lot of money to get the passport. You know, it's bribery.
Right.
So she knew these people, and they bought the stuff from her. And she scraped up some money that way. She had enough for passage money or
Talk
something.
about passport, does she still have a Russian passport?
Yeah, Nan, do you still have, did you need any documents when you left as a child? Did you have any papers?
You don't have a passport anymore, do you? Threw it away?
I don't think so.
Sold
I'd have to look, see if there's something like that is around.
You didn't go through Estonia, did you?
No.
So anyway, let's get back to the July. You got to this country and you said you had cousins, so probably you picked up English like any other child picks up English, talking to the children.
No
Yeah,
time.
but so, in such a short time.
But you felt comfortable when you got to school, you really could speak as well as any of the other children?
No, I couldn't speak as well. How
No,
could
but
I?
you
Yeah,
could
but,
if you got on.
Well, you went right through what, grade school? And did you go
Yeah.
through? How far in schooling did you go?
Well, I went 1 year of high and then 1 year night high.
Night high?
Yeah.
That for business or what?
I lied.
Mhm.
What'd you take
I
up?
took up
Typing?
typing. Listen, I took the two kinds of shorthands. Because in day high, I was taught, what was it called now? Not the Greg I took later. What was the first one called?
What's that?
Shorthand.
Short,
Yeah, there
shorthand.
was,
I know, the Palmer method of
No, that's
penmanship?
right.
No,
No.
not penmanship. Penmanship we were taught in those days, not like they do today.
They used the Palmer method.
That's right.
Yeah.
what were the shorthands?
I ended off, I can't think of it.
Greg's.
No,
Greg, there was another
Greg
one.
was later. I took Greg also. I took the other one first and then Greg.
So when you went to school, what school did you go to? Which public schools did you go
14.
to? School, and right through you went to 14?
Yeah, it was grade school.
Greg.
Right.
No,
I mean, you didn't
that was
move.
in high school. You took up the shorthand
Uh-huh.
and typing.
But you went to
And
school 14,
bookkeeping.
and then what other school did you go to?
Albany High.
After school 14.
Albany High?
Albany High. The new Albany High, not the old. That was the first year, the new Albany High. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's located now. Is it still a high school there? I
No,
don't
it's
know.
elementary school
Oh,
now.
no, it's not.
It's an elementary school now.
Oh, it is?
It's an old building.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right, the
The one
new,
next to me.
the new high school, yeah, that's
That was the
right.
new high school.
So Nan, what did your father do
The new one.
for the grocery store? You had the grocery store business. Your family had the grocery store business.
That was
what was your
later,
father?
that was much later, after we lived here for a long time.
Oh, that was a long time.
Well, sure, I must have been around 15 years old, because when we were on Second Avenue,
Mhm.
he got kicked by a horse, because he would deliver, groceries,
Mm-hmm.
and he was laid up, he had broken his leg. Oh, he was in the cast for months. And me, I was the bread earner. I mean, I used to go collecting, because he had customers all over.
How old were you?
I must have been around 15, 16 about that time. Must
So
have
were you
been
still
that.
in school?
No, oh no.
Okay, so you were helping the family out all
Oh,
the time. at
sure,
this
so I used
point.
to go collecting in those days, and I was never a good traveler.
How would
So
you
I
go?
used to walk.
Well, you couldn't ride in a car or
I mean, trolley cars those days, trolley
yeah?
cars, there's no buses.
Did you go to school 17 when you were a kid?
No, 14.
Oh, we never went to 17 over Second Avenue?
No, we lived on Second Avenue.
But you never went to school over there?
She's already
No,
finished with schooling at that.
no.
So you would go do the collector.
Antwerp, that's the place.
Antwerp.
Antwerp,
Antwerp,
No,
Brussels.
A-N-T-W-E-R-P.
Belgium.
Antwerp.
Yeah, Antwerp.
So, you
It comes eventually.
Antwerp,
right?
it comes
Belgium.
eventually.
That's where you took your ship, the ship?
That's where we took the ship,
Oh, sure, it would have to be one of
from
those. ports.
Antwerp.
There's no
So
S.
how do we get to Antwerp?
You took a train
You went to the train?
right across Europe. Yeah, the Oriental
So
Express
how did
route.
she take
Yeah.
that stuff?
The Oriental
But as it said,
Express.
she had this fellow helping her because he was trying to get into this country. He didn't have a passport, so I don't know how they.
Well,
They
they,
used to
Yeah, they
give them the same name practically, because my mother, when she came to this country, she traveled with a cousin and she came under the pretense that she was his daughter. She really wasn't his daughter, she was
Oh,
just a
oh.
cousin.
Oh,
But you couldn't just travel like that. So she happened to have the same last name, which was Kurtzer. So even though he was my mother's father's cousin, he brought her as
Yeah,
if it
yeah.
was another daughter. That was Tilly's.
That's
That's how.
well, that's how
That's
this
what they used to
Pinky
do.
was his name. I have a picture of him somewhere home too. Pinky. So that's how he came with us, and he was the one who helped.
So he probably helped
Because he was
Dina.
alone, he couldn't have much baggage, I don't imagine.
So he probably helped Dina
Because he was
carry all
single
the things.
Oh, sure, he was a single person, and so, she had his help. And once I got into after I got the herring from my mother, I went up on second berth,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the end of me. I didn't come down till we landed.
How
I
many
was
ships?
sick.
Didn't
How
feel so
many,
good, huh?
how many days were you on the ocean?
2
You re-
weeks, I
2
guess.
weeks.
2
She was
weeks.
sick every day, except the
I
day
was
she came into port.
Yeah, I was sick.
Everybody said, there's the Statue of Liberty, and everybody got excited and you felt better.
Nan, what kind of, did they have to examine you when you got onto land? Did you have to go through any kind of a physical?
That I don't remember. You hear people talk about these things that they, if for instance, if you had, this,
If you had
If you had a
tuberculosis,
pink eye,
they sent you back.
if you had a pink eye, let's say, or you didn't look just right,
Glaucoma,
then they
they
would
sent you back.
examine you, and they wouldn't let you in. They were sent right back.
Nan, when you were talking earlier about how unfortunately one of your uncles died during influenza,
Yeah.
what kinds of, nowadays we just don't have a lot of these major diseases. What kind of diseases as children and everything else were you told to be careful of? What went on?
Oh, later on, I was the first one always to get sick. When sickness would come. My mother had diphtheria. At the same time, I got scarlet fever.
So who took care of you?
And
Probably had an
And the,
attic.
and the children, and Uncle Al, no, Gus was born already. So Gus was a baby, and he was being nursed. And of course, he was all
You
right.
wet
just
nurse?
so- Huh?
Wet nurse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, sure she was.
So my Aunt Ida was nursing one of her
so
children at the
she
time.
nursed him at the
So
same
she
time.
took him, but didn't take very long, I don't know how many days, very few days, and they had to bring him back because he got sick too. So, in those days, what they used to do, if there was anything that was infectious, they would put a sign on your front door.
That's right.
No one was allowed to enter.
You quarantined
You
her.
were
Yeah,
quarantined.
that's it. That's the word. And my Aunt Mary used to make some kind of food for us. I suppose we had to eat something. I
Probably
don't
put
know.
it by the door.
And left it outside the door. So, whoever was able to walk around a little bit,
Where
all
were
better.
you living when?
We were
this
living
time?
then at 21 Broad Street. We lived there for about 3 years. And from there, we moved to 29 Broad Street. Again, I took sick with something, and they moved me with the bed. Huh? I was in bed.
Oh, so during the move, literally, they couldn't get you out of the bed. So Nan, wait a second. I'm gonna put that.
Hello?
Tell us a story about how you met parents and all back.
But I don't remember whether they all came together. They must have, it seems to me. But this
Where'd they
one-
come from?
Odessa.
Okay.
They came from Odessa. But this oldest brother was arrested. In fact, the 3 brothers were arrested for political reasons.
What were the names? Do you remember?
Sure. Zundel, Ben, Hilschel, and Abram. 4 of them. So when they came to arrest them, the mother says, they came for one. And all the kids were in the house. She was a widow at the time already. And she says, I got more, take them all. So they took 4 of them.
I think she probably overreacted.
Well, I suppose so. And
But they must have been some troublemakers.
so Zundel remained in Siberia.
Oh, that's where they
Many-
sent them.
That's where they
Well,
sent.
about what year would this be?
Oh, I don't know.
This is before they came over.
Well, sure, Zundel never got here
Never.
because he remained there and he got married. I have his picture of his wife and his son. He got married there. But the others, they didn't serve too long. I
But
don't
we're
know.
talking Tsarist Russia here, right?
That's right.
Okay.
So the other three brothers, that was Red Ben, Abram, and Peretz, and Chaim.
Mhm.
That's where your
Uncle Chaim.
Yeah. They must have come at the same time. That I'm not sure of.
So Uncle Chaim went to Israel, though. He went
Yeah,
right to
but
Israel.
this was many years later. But when they came over, who did they come to? Whose house? Must have been to my grandfather's house.
Now, your grandfather was what relation to
My
them?
mother's father,
Your mother's father. So his name was Koblenz.
Abraham Koblenz, I'm from Koblenz. And my grandmother's name was,
Was that the one Sherry's name for?
no,
that was
Sherry's
an aunt.
name for my father's sister.
No, this is
Right,
Aunt Dina's son.
yeah.
Oh, dear, that was my grandma. Bela.
Bela. Okay, so Bela and Avram were what relation to Peretz? What was the relation to Peretz?
Abram, my grandfather,
Mhm.
and Peretz's father were brothers.
Okay, so he was a great uncle.
Yeah. And
Okay.
Peretz was the second cousin to
So
me.
he was a great uncle. Your grandfather was a great uncle to your husband.
Yeah.
Okay. So they came to their great uncle, essentially. That's who was there. So they came to that kind of mishpacha.
They
All
came
right.
to that apartment. And my Peretz was, now Abram was
Just an uncle.
watchmaker, and Herschel was a cap maker. And there were cap makers in Albany.
Yeah.
You know, where they worked. And Red Ben was also a watchmaker.
Mhm.
And Peretz was a printer in Russia, you know.
Right,
he was-
right. Peretz was a printer.
So he had no trouble getting a job here, and it didn't take him too long to learn the language.
So how much older than you was Peretz?
3 years.
Okay.
So, but he came how much later than you? What year did he come?
If I came in 1905, I don't know, did he come in 1914, around that time?
So he was older. He was already
Oh, yeah.
a late teenager. He was in the
Oh,
17 or 18-year-old.
Oh, he was older, much older, because he had to learn the trade. He was a printer.
Remember that? A
Yeah,
horse?
but you see, the
That's a horse-drawn
Yeah, I know.
streetcar.
yeah, I know, streetcars. Yeah, I remember the streetcars here.
With the horses?
Well, sure.
Oh, I thought they're electric.
No. You know what part of Albany they had them here?
Yeah, it says Broadway, North Ferry.
Yeah, North Ferry. Now, because as young as I was, we always used to have a lot of company from New York, New Jersey, and all over. And I had to take them to the boat. There was a boat line up there somewhere.
Yeah, Dayline, taking to New York.
I don't know, Dayline probably. Well, no, the Dayline was further down.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so I used to take them up to the boat line.
How?
By,
Horse-drawn trolley.
Oh, you went on it with them?
that's right.
Oh, you didn't
sure,
take them, you
sure,
just
I
went
was
along
a
with
kid.
Oh.
I was, oh.
Okay, so you met Peretz when he came to this country at first, right?
Yeah, he was a printer. He didn't have any trouble finding work as a printer. It didn't take him too long. He went to school, you know. Nicer.
You remember this when they had a flood in Albany, 1913?
Listen, in 1913, we lived on our street, and we were flooded. We had to go to live with my grandparents. They lived on Broad Street, 44 Broad Street. That was on the top floor.
And the water was up to where?
No, we went to live with them. Where we lived we had the flood we had upstairs and, principal and basement. So the basement was all flooded, we couldn't live there.
That's when you-
1905.
Yeah, that's when you came here. That's the old Albany
Oh,
Hospital.
homeopathic share.
You remember that? Over
yeah.
in Morton Avenue? I mean Memorial Hospital?
Yeah.
On North Pearl Street, 123 North Pearl?
Nan, where were your younger siblings born? The ones that were born in Albany, Gus and
Where were
Sarah, where were they born? Were they born at home or were they born in the hospital?
They were born at home.
Who came? Did anybody come to help out your mom? Was there an aunt or a midwife or somebody who was trained to
Oh,
come
yeah,
and help?
they had a midwife, but there was a Dr. Lochner. Do you remember Dr.
Yeah,
Lochner?
over
of
on
Albany?
Ash Grove Place?
Dr. Lochner didn't live on Ash Grove Place.
Who was a Mosier?
Mosier,
Yeah.
yeah. And there was another Jewish doctor who lived on Ash Grove, but this was Dr. Lochner.
So he would come to the house?
Oh, in those days, sure.
Yeah.
For $2.
What do you mean, $2?
$2.
Less than
Less
a
than
dollar,
$2, yeah.
50 cents some of them were
Yeah.
in those days. Sure, they'd come to the house. And do you remember, Peppy, the bedroom where the Kipito, where the,
Yeah.
would be in bed, all around the walls, they had these, what do you call them, those papers? Printed forms.
But that I never
Or
heard.
where?
They
For
would-
what reason?
I don't know, it had something to do with the mother, for their health's sake or whatever, I don't remember, but I remember on each side, the 4 walls to a room, each wall had this,
Where was it, a doctor's office?
No, in the birthing room in the house.
In the house.
woman's bedroom.
I had the name in
The
mind before,
Kippitor.
now I forgot it, what were they called? you know?
Kippitor.
No, what were the papers
Oh,
called?
I don't know, I never heard of that.
You never heard of it?
Was this like to keep out,
Keep out.
you know, iron horror and everything else?
Yeah, probably,
Mhm.
yeah.
That I never heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Nan, let's get back to when parents first came to this country. Was it an understanding between the families that there would be something
Oh,
between you, or did he have to court you?
Oh, no, nothing like that, because after all, no, he's a young man, I guess he worked in Lions Building, remember Lions?
Oh, sure, I got a picture of it right here.
Yeah,
You wanna see it? There it is.
and,
See it over there?
oh, I remember the building, sure,
Yeah,
that's where the
Lions.
market is.
Yeah, I used to get my wood over there for my family. I used to bring wood over to put in the stove.
No
You
kidding,
used to have packages there because you used to sell appliances in there.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Nan, so what was it like to be courted? I understand you had a interesting boat trip once on the lake, or
What lake was that, Washington Park?
on the Hudson. Oh, on the Hudson, you went in a
Well,
boat
I'm
once,
telling
a
you.
rowboat.
He was a good swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in those days, we used to, he belonged to all these different societies, and they used to go in groups. So some had rowboats, and others had, I forget what they called, more than one person can sit in one of these boats, you know. Well, this was in the daytime, we must have been past Hudson already, it's rowing. And the New York day line was coming from New York to Albany, and you know the waves of, well anyhow, our oars fell into the river. I went into the river,
You?
yeah, and parents of course got me out. I never in my life had learned to swim. You know, when I was a kid, remember the bathhouse on
Fourth Avenue?
Fourth Avenue?
Oh, sure.
So we used to go there, remember the railings, they used to teach you to swim.
Oh, sure, they used to push you in.
I never could learn to swim as
Does
hard
this look
as
familiar?
I tried. Yeah,
That's old school 14.
remember
On the other side.
alleyway through
Yeah,
there?
sure.
Oh yeah, school 14.
Yeah. Used to be on Trinity Place.
That was the school in Albany, let me tell you.
Wasn't that what became Schuyler?
No,
Yeah,
across the street
yes,
became
yeah.
Schuyler.
That became Schuyler.
Eventually across the street, but this was before we moved
Oh,
across the street.
go, yeah.
This was on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now-
I thought Schuyler was old school 14.
What's
It
what's
was,
that
but before School 14 was School 14, it was a building across the street
Oh.
that became a little factory or something they made in there or something.
Now,
There was
what's
a powerhouse across the street there.
You remember Margolis's restaurant? Kosher restaurant?
Should say, Albany at that time had maybe 5 or 6 Jewish places.
what synagogue did your family belong to? What synagogue?
Margulies.
As Sons of Abraham.
Which was where then?
When we came to this country, they didn't have a building. On the same street where we lived, in a house, somebody's house. So, they'd gather there and daven there. And then they had their place on Franklin Street near,
Across from the school 15 where I taught.
School 15 was on Herkimer, wasn't it?
Herkimer on the corner.
Yeah,
there,
but that
Herkimer
was the
Press.
Beth.
Oh, that was Bethel Jacob, that's
That was
right.
Bethel Jacob. But the, where we belonged was to the Sons of Abraham, that is today called, they certainly,
combined.
They merged.
they merged, now
Was
they're
it
called
good at
Bethel.
Stockton?
No, they couldn't sock him. They used to call the,
The poor man's show.
they didn't call him poor man, they called him the.
They call it the Stiebel? No,
No. That was across the street, you know.
yeah.
So who headed up services? Was there any kind of a rabbi or
Oh,
a
yeah.
rab or who?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was there a
that.
teacher that would handle Hebrew school or Cheder classes?
No, Hebrew school, there was only one one man who, Steinbach.
Mm-hmm.
Steinbach?
Do you remember Steinbach who used to teach? He was a teacher.
No, I didn't know him.
Well, my mother taught me Yiddish, so I could read and write. I didn't ever have to go to that school. I was the only girl in that in the.
Who were the other students? Do you remember any of the names of the other kids?
I don't remember. Don't forget this how many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I should remember some of them. So he would teach the boys, and I would sit and listen. He'd be through with the boys. He would go out and he'd say to his wife, Pessel, Herr zu hier. So I was with that school for 9 months, and during that time the Hebrew Educational Institute was being built. You remember that or don't you?
No,
You
I
weren't
remind-
here.
I don't.
You should remember that.
That's on Phillip Street,
No, on Franklin Street.
Franklin Street?
Right next door to the Sons of Abraham shul.
Oh, yeah.
So then I went to that institute.
What
That
was that, like a
regular
Talmud Torah?
What?
That was like a Talmud Torah?
It was a Talmud Torah, really.
Yeah.
It was,
That was the one with the little cupola up on top, wasn't it? The Workman's Circle?
no, this was no word, that was further, that was on
That was on Ash Grove Place.
Ashgrove Place.
Ash Grove and Trinity.
They only taught Jewish there. But
Yeah.
I never went to that school. I went to this Hebrew, and all they taught here was Hebrew. When I left school, I was able to speak Hebrew fluently. I went as long as a boy goes. You know,
Oh,
bar
yeah.
mitzvah.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet many, when you were a little girl, did you ever have anything to do with the German Jews in Albany? Were they all pretty much by themselves, or did you
They
ever
were
mix
pretty
with?
much by themselves, and when I was grown up, and I was a Hadassah member already, I was 1920, a Hadassah member, and I used to come to them for donations or something. They had no use for the,
Hadassah?
I mean, they had no use for the Eastern European
Yeah, that's
Jews,
us.
you know, at that time.
Yeah.
It's not until, I don't know, how many years ago could it be? Now they're interested in the Jews all over the world, you know,
But they were pretty much by themselves, weren't they?
At that time,
Yeah, the German Jews.
German.
Yeah, they used to work down there, the Babbitt Company.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's the soap company.
Well, the soap,
They
yeah,
were
Babbo.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Where
down
was
there,
their
Potash, Mendelssohn lived down there, Babbitt,
Yeah, they were.
Barnett.
Oh, Barnett, yeah.
But they were never mixed.
No.
Did you ever go down to the Royal Theater?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah?
Just around the corner.
What kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
What kind of shows would you see there?
That was Fairyland, wasn't
movies,
it?
Fairyland.
Yeah, did you see Little Jack Little down there?
Oh, sure.
He married Hellman's daughter.
That's right.
That caused a little stir, didn't it?
Well, yeah, that was a long time ago. And you
Yeah.
remember that?
I don't remember any of that stuff, but I know about it.
Oh, you know, huh?
Well, I remember the Royal Theater. I'd been there. Did you know Neil Hellman, too?
At that time.
Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, they used to call him because he had those funny teeth.
And this little Jack Little, you know, he
Yeah.
used to sing there too.
Yeah, he used to play in
He
intermission.
played, yeah.
Play the piano.
And sang.
And then Hellman's daughter, then the sister fell in love with him. They moved.
Where is this little, he's still around?
No, he's dead. They're all dead.
They're all gone?
Oh yeah, little Jack Little died, and Hellman,
Hellman died.
Hellman's daughter died.
Yeah, his sister.
It was his sister.
His sister,
Neil's
yeah,
sister.
his sister
Nah.
died.
Well,
Now, when didn't you tell me at one time that your father, later on, was he the shamus of the shul? Is that what he did?
he was a shamus, yeah, the,
Of Sons of Abraham?
Son of Abraham.
So
That was
who-
his late
And
years.
what? And Dina had the store and a grocery store.
That's right.
So then, when you got married to Peretz, where did you live?
On Phillip Street.
What number?
121, I don't know.
Oh, that was the
121
other
up there in the
side.
poor section. Oh,
What section?
I lived in 52.
You were poor.
No.
So there was a poor and a poor section of Phillip Street, is what I'm
I
saying.
think it was
So you lived over by Park Avenue?
yeah, around there, yeah.
Yeah.
What did parents do for a living? Was still a printer?
Oh, yes.
And did you work outside the home at that point?
No.
No.
Listen, in those days,
Yeah.
once a girl got married,
That was it.
it wasn't nice for her to go to work.
What was your wedding like? Where did you get
Where'd you
married?
get married?
Remember Eintracht Hall on South Pearl Street?
I don't
My
remember.
mother even made the wedding. She
She
did
made
the
it?
cooking and all.
Oh, she did?
So
Who
how-
married you? A rabbi? Justice of the peace?
Yeah, I don't remember who. Could he have been here that time? Let me see.
Was it a happy day? Were you excited? Or did you go back to
I
work the
was-
same
No,
day?
you
No,
didn't
you
go to
didn't
work
work.
in those days. You had to
Oh.
quit before.
You went on a honeymoon?
Well, sure.
Where'd you go?
Saratoga.
Troy?
Hey,
You-
they
Saratoga?
went on a
Saratoga?
honeymoon. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
my folks did. They didn't go on a honeymoon.
It was different
Power
in those
back
days.
to
the
than
grocery
it is
store.
today.
Yeah.
Much different.
Nan, so how old were you when you got married?
20.
You were 20 years old. And at what point did Parrot start to get ill? How old were you then? How old was he?
Must have been about his late 20s. He died when he was 30 something early.
He died in 1928. He was 19 months sick in bed in the house.
Mm-hmm.
You figure it out.
Well, you must have.
So during that
You had
time-
to take care of him?
Well,
During that time, you used to tell us that he would have various cravings and things like that.
oh, yeah. Well, you see, the doctors came to a point that whatever he would like, for instance, I'd say, what would you like to eat, you know? He wants such and such a dish. Well, after all, it takes a little time to prepare it. By the time I'd give it to him, he didn't want it. So I used to go to Jack's at midnight when he was on Beaver Street.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's right, because he wanted,
Around the corner from Rudnick's, huh?
well, yeah.
Rudnick's was up in
Yeah.
the corner.
And I wasn't afraid to go. I'd go by myself, you know, but
Very safe.
any hour at night. I don't remember the type of food that he would want.
Probably
I think
oysters.
No, I don't think he ate oysters. It was something else. Anyhow, they give it to you in a little galvanized pail, you know,
Oh, with a cover on it.
with a cover on it.
Yeah.
I'd bring it home. He didn't want it already.
So Nan, after Parrots died, what kind of what happened? Where did you live? What kind of
I
work? We're almost at the end of the
went
tape,
back
so
to
I
live
want.
with my folks upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own flat there.
Oh,
Yeah, what
oh.
do the two kids?
So what-
With me.
Oh.
Nan, what kind of work did you do?
Who, me?
Yes, did you work at that point again?
Oh, yeah, I had to go back to work.
What kind of
What
work?
type of work did you do?
Bookkeeping. You see, I took up bookkeeping in school too. And you know, rest in peace, Joseph. He was a brother of Kibby's. He was an accountant for Jack's at that time. He died young person too. He had TB. So I still had that bookkeeping book home that he had given me.
You still got it?
I'm sure it was around the house somewhere. I never got rid of it. And so, but I didn't go as a bookkeeper first. I went to work for, remember Friedman's department store on South Pearl Street, opposite Rensselaer or so? Friedman's?
Yeah, I think I do. It was a department store.
Yeah, so I went to work there, and so they assigned me to the millinery department. I knew nothing about millinery.
Well, you had to do
Told
was do the
him.
books, huh?
Huh?
You had to do the books.
No, they
No,
No,
Did you sell hats?
Oh, to sell? Oh.
Sell hats?
To sell hats, I knew nothing about selling.
You had to have a head. Hat.
Anyhow, but you know, that's what they tell you. But then after that, you have to know every single department in the store. So if a customer wants to look for hose or whatever it is, you have to walk over there. Well, I don't remember how long I worked for them, not too long. Then did you remember,
Did you ever buy your milk from Brody's?
my brother used to work for Brody's.
Is that right? You never told me that.
Oh yes, he worked for Brody's a long time.
Oh, did he?
because that's Harry's mishpacha.
Yeah, that's my family.
Brody's?
Yeah, the Axelrods and Brody's, the whole bit.
And before he worked for Brody's, he worked for,
Darcy?
no, Jewish person on, can't think of his name, on R Street he was. He was a fat man. What was his name? Alfred, could it be?
Alfred, could be an Alfred. I remember a family Alfred that were
Well,
five.
well, I think it was that family. Well, anyhow, sure, he worked for Brody's for a long time.
What do you do for Brody? Ride a truck?
No, he was inside.
Milk the cows? I don't know what they do.
No, you have to,
Clean the cans?
no. The milk goes through a certain process.
Pasteurization?
Yeah, they pasteurize the milk, and you have to, I don't know just how they work it, you know.
So he worked for them.
Oh, he worked for them for a long time. Sure.
Did you know Mrs. Brody?
Oh, sure,
Oh,
we knew
did
the
you?
Brodies well.
Hey, Nan, we're nearly at the end of the tape, so
What do you want to ask me?
You know across the street from Brody's there was a candy store?
Yes, what was the name?
I don't know, but my
I
mother
went to
worked there.
school with him.
My mother
With
worked there, that's where she met my father.
She worked for,
On the corner, there was a candy store right there on Ferry Street. Brody's was on Ferry Street, right above, was it Dahlia's? Or
Green. I don't
Duncan
know.
or whatever it was.
One of those streets, yeah. What were you going to ask me?
I was just gonna say, first of all, thanks very much for sitting and talking and everything else for the tape. All in all, 90th birthday. Do you have any feelings about what it's
What it's like to be 90?
what it's like to be 90? What's your secret?
Well, I have no secrets. What can I tell you about?
What would you have done differently, you think, if you could control it?
I don't think that's possible.
What do you
No.
attribute Kanahara your good health to? Clean living?
Well, sure.
You didn't smoke or anything as a kid,
No.
did you? Good.
Good food,
Good food.
beer.
Uh-huh.
I used to know, well, beer, yeah, I used to take a beer once in a while.
Once in a while, just to keep you happy.
Cherry
No,
herring?
huh?
Cherry herring?
Oh, boy, I used to love that. How
Yeah.
do you know?
Ah, we got you one once for Hanukkah, I think, one year.
That was good. No, I don't touch it.
We'll get you another one.
Well, I drink a little wine, Friday night.
You got any personal things to tell us? Something about you'd like to talk about? Something? I mean, did you have any dates after your husband
Oh
died?
yeah, quick. Who was it that wanted to marry you, Nan? Tell us. Oh, come on, tell us.
Your kids, you
Pick
know.
her, pick her.
Anybody want to take away for a weekend or something?
Well,
Yeah.
look, he was crazy about me. You know, they made my mother.
But what was
made
his
me-
name then? It wasn't Picker then. What was it? Podchapovsky, wasn't it?
No. Picker. I'm talking about Picker.
Howard Picker's
This-
father, yeah.
This
You
is
got the gift
Picker's
shop.
father. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Picker's father.
I know. Went to marry
And
Nan.
yeah, he was really crazy about me, and he felt bad.
Why did you marry him, Nan?
They made me a 16th birthday party. I still have that ring. That ring they didn't steal.
Yeah.
And he wasn't invited, so the next day he came over. They lived across the street there. I don't know. I'll get their street.
Warren Avenue, probably.
No. Opposite Franklin Street there.
Oh,
So he brought me a lovely, nice box of candy. But the box I used as sewing basket for many years.
Oh.
It was, and he expressed his feelings. He felt so bad he wasn't invited. I said, well, I didn't make them. What can I tell him? So, and he was a sick guy. I used to go visit
I
him in
remember
the
he was sick,
hospital
yeah.
in Troy. And, but he was crazy about me. He wasn't the only one. There was a man.
was
when
this
I worked-
before he was married or after he was married?
Who?
You.
Picker.
Before.
Oh, good.
His father. So, my mother used to say, he's a sick fella, but that. So he outlived my husband.
What other bows did you have? What other
Oh,
bows?
yeah, there was one man, now who can remember their names? You know what?
You didn't pay too much attention to him, I
He
think is
was
what
on
it
a
came
nerve,
from.
Why is that? What was the other guy you gave
This
you?
other guy, he used to come where I worked for Steinbach, all the time, truck me a tin ear and wanted to date me, and I refused.
Why? You had nothing better to do at the time, did you? Were you busy?
He didn't appeal to me.
Oh, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Now we can continue, but let's wrap up the tape at this
So
point.
anyway, so this other guy used to come to my mother, mind you.
Try to be nice to her to get to you?
Yeah, and he kept asking her, sure, that's
Oh.
right to get to me.
Well,
So
I don't like
was
those kind of guys.
what was her expression?
Gay cock and...
No. She used to say, Adel, Schleck